Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Music Rating, Ranking, and Reviewing podcast I like to call Music Meltdown, in which we rate, rank, and review any artist's discography, songs, really whatever musical topic comes to mind. This episode, we're on to the third episode, the March episode of the Album a Day project, in which we listen to an album a day, or you're like me and you don't do that, but you still listen to all of them. With that being said, this was March. A bit of a weird month, definitely the worst so far, in my opinion. What's the Kool-Aid Man?
I just wanted to point out real quick that I'm wearing a Kool-Aid Man shirt this time.
All right.
Represent.
I have 21 records that I would rate good or higher, but if I'm being brutally honest, I probably only really want to return to, at the current moment, my top 14, which is less than half the month, which is less than what I had for January. And the highs at the top, aside from really, I mean, my top 5, I think are all really great records. All of them made my top 100 records. But I mean, here's the thing. I feel like the depth of the year, it's like, for the most part, it's not necessarily as strong as the depth of January. And the highs of February are just better to me. So, yeah. And tons of mediocrity this month.
Yeah,
that's the issue. So much stuff that I felt very mixed or not at all on. But I don't know. It was a month of music that I listened to. Your takeaways this month?
Honestly, very similar. I think that we got a really, really good mix in February, and I think that kind of like we got spoiled is what it is, I think, because January was okay. There was definitely a lot of good stuff in January, but there's also a lot of just like hit or miss stuff. And then February, almost every single day was like out of the park, fantastic. And then we get to March, and at this point, it was like, oh, all right, I got to listen to this one. I was on spring break this month, and there was, I think, 2 albums on my entire spring break that I actually enjoyed. And I got to be honest with you, I was a little disappointed with that. I was like, oh, yeah, getting out, hitting the town, singing karaoke with my boy Kevin. Shouts out to Kevin, by the way. Love you, Kevin.
Who the hell is Kevin?
I wouldn't worry about it.
Okay. I have no clue who Kevin is.
No, but yeah, no. So, March definitely, I think, was not quite as.
Wasn't terrible.
Yeah, but it also wasn't great.
All right. Yeah. Did you here? It's your turn to start your number 5 worst.
Okay,
what classic
would you
record
mind?
Are you putting down here?
Would you mind if I did my 5th and 4th in one go, because they're actually by the same artist, and I feel very similar about both of them.
Oh God, there's 2 different options for this too.
No, it's even funnier because just wait till you get to my bottom 2. So dude, is that fine if I? Is it fine if I do that?
You're such a problem.
My number 5 is what is that? Stevie Wonder with Music of My Mind. And my number 4 is Stevie Wonder with Inner Visions.
I knew this was coming.
Sorry.
You should be. You absolutely should.
I'm sorry. I am not refined in my taste, I assume.
At least you're admitting it this time.
No, well, I think firstly, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know why, but Stevie Wonder, I always heard the name and thought of Louis Armstrong, and there's like no connection there at all. I know, it makes no sense.
Not even remotely.
I'm putting this on and expecting like, yeah, I'm singing and I'm a dude, and this he has such a nicer voice. It's like real smooth,
It's a perfect voice.
His voice was great. A lot of the instrumentation was pretty good too, but truthfully, like, they were boring. These albums were like a chore. They were like,
no.
dude, there was like they were all just like,
the musicality is brilliant.
That's fair. Like I said, the
instrumentation is immaculate. And his vocals are borderline perfection. What do you mean?
They sure are.
This is worse than John Coltrane.
Boring.
This is so much worse.
I would rather be bad. You can tell by what we're going to talk about later. I would rather be bad than be boring. And they were just boring. They were, if they came on, I wouldn't be upset about it, but I'm not ever going to go out of my way to be like, you know what I could go for right now? What's it? Stevie Wonder. He'd be fantastic right now. That's what I'm in the mood for.
I'm
No one
always in the
says
mood
that.
for that. Yeah, no, everybody says that because he's
No,
often regarded as one of the greatest musicians of all time.
so they say, but who are they to judge?
So they're correct about.
What's your number 5? Home Slice?
All right. Back Skillet. My number 5. I guess I'll talk about my number 4 as well. My number 5 is Sally's Fourth by Rainbow Folly. And it's just boring. I'm not big into this psychedelic 60s sphere very much. I just didn't like it. I don't think that there's anything really all that unique or all that compelling about this record. It's just dull. And that's gonna be the trend for my entire bottom 5. I have all 5 of these records at like low 2.5s. So they're all like very bad 5s, essentially. They're just not good. I'll talk about my 4 now because I have such little to say about that. I have Let's Go by Rancid. Just not very good. It's just
Dang.
it's Green Day without memorable hooks. The production isn't anything special, and there's just way too much material here. It had no reason to be 23 songs, but most of them are like a minute, minute and a half, and just none of them are good. Like they're fine. It's listenable, but I'm quite literally never going to choose to listen to this instead of like a Stevie Wonder or a Curtis Mayfield, like good music. So yeah, Let's Go by Rancid. Pretty rancid.
See, that one upset me because I put the Rancid albums on here because I grew up with Rancid. My dad listens to them a lot, and the album Out Come the Wolves is phenomenal. It's on our list. I think we do. No, we don't have that one next month. We have Let the Dominoes Fall next month. But this is Rancid.
I'm so excited.
I could be mistaken, but this is I think Rancid's first album, and you can kind of tell. It's not super great. I kind of agree with you. I just liked it a lot more. I liked the sound, but a lot of your
It's
points I
the
can definitely agree with.
it's the sophomore record.
Oh, is it?
Yep. I mean, same difference.
Either
It's
way, yeah, you
just
can still tell it's super early. They don't really have a lot going for them just yet. But yeah, a lot of the flaws you point out, I actually kind of agree with.
regardless,
No,
it's still not very good.
my number 3 is actually number 5. It's that Rainbow Folly, whatever.
Yeah.
It just sounds like a crappier version of the Beatles.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like it really sounded a lot of points. I was like, this sounds like if the Beatles were bad at writing songs.
It's essentially just like any miscellaneous Beatles, Beach Boys. It makes sense why the bands that got big in the 60s got big because if this is the alternative, then I don't get why music
Yeah.
existed then.
That's valid, yeah. I like to try my best to keep an open mind going back to older music because I'm more inclined to like newer stuff. It's what I'm used to. But I really do. I've been trying to keep an open mind going back to the older stuff, and
It's
it's just
not
like
shown.
no, I know. I really am trying to be open minded about it, but my biases are going to shine through.
At least you're
But no,
upfront
yeah,
about it.
the older stuff is just not for me, and especially things like this. I like the Beatles. That's like one of the older bands I do genuinely enjoy. I love the Beatles.
They're fine.
This is not it. Like I said, it
Not
really
it,
felt like
dog.
no. You're right. It's what did you say? Psychedelic pop, or whatever. That's a really good way to describe. I didn't even put that in there when I was listening, but it's almost like if you got on a train and then took LSD and listened to the Beatles. That's what this experience of this album is, I think, and it's not in a good way. So that's my number 3.
Well, speaking of train, my next record is California 37 by Train. I'm gonna be brutally honest. This record is dog shit. Like it's really awful in like every level, but it's kind of bad in the sense to where it's somewhat entertaining. Drive By is it's laughably terrible. 50 Ways to Say Goodbye is the biggest rip off of Viva La Vida by Coldplay I've ever heard. Like the ethnic guitar grooves that they have in it is just horrible. Pat Montague, I think his last name is. He's not a very good singer. He has little to no range. He sings everything the same, and he has like this smugness to him. Like he acts like he's right when every song that he's writing is awful. And every single reference to pop culture across this record is horrible. It dates it so incredibly terribly that it's kind of laughable. And production wise, I've heard like Katy Perry records from this time that somehow sound better. It's like it's not good even a little bit, but it's kind of entertaining in its awfulness. And I can say that far more than my bottom two, which are still bad. Like they're still low 2.5s, but I mean, they're boring. This is at least vaguely entertaining through how bad it is. Even if I'm going on like an objective level, I would call it the worst record I've listened to for the project. Well, no, John Bellion was worse.
Oh no, see that was tricky. That was tricky. We were just talking about
Was
this because
it?
I think that like
Was
I
it
think
tricky?
that I like 50 Ways to Say Goodbye.
Okay.
Unironically, I think it's a great song. You know, I was talking about earlier.
Just told
It's
me
like
before we
it
started
it
this.
no, yeah, it kind of leans into the it's so bad it's good. Like it almost comes back on the spectrum.
Then it's
You know,
inherently bad. What do you
well,
mean?
no, it definitely has flaws. They're very obvious, but like I don't know, in a fun
Flaws.
way. In a fun way, you know. But I think you're right. There are a lot of pop culture references that like I even noticed listening to. I'm like, wow, they mention a lot of things in here that are like unnecessary. And you're right. I didn't think about that too either. But it definitely does date it. You know, it's Train. Train
Yeah.
is a mystery to me because I wanted to like it mainly because there's such a like a meme on your channel almost of like how awful Train is. And everyone hates Train, so I wanted to kind of like it just as like a middle finger. But like, I can't like.
You've given plenty
Um,
of middle fingers across the 3 videos that you've been on already. You don't have to worry
no,
about that.
I know, but like that's my thing. I'm groovy. Um,
With how you're describing this record, part of me wants to hate you with a train because you're trying to defend it.
No, that's the thing. The music production on it's pretty good. They sound good. I like the dude's voice. I think he's a pretty good singer. I think you're kind of right though. He does kind of have almost a smug arrogance to him. I don't really care for that, but for the most part, I think he sings really well. Um, the problem with this album and the band as a whole is that the lyrics are so stupid. They write the dumbest things and then sing it beautifully. Like that's like if you tried to get Madonna to sing like the ABCs. Like what a waste of her talents. Do better. You know? And I think that's the biggest problem with Train is they really could be a really good band and they just don't. They just don't, man.
They
Anyway, that's
don't
my
a
piece
lot
on
of
Train.
things.
Um
Well, I'm glad we heard your in-depth analysis on Train.
Sorry. You're welcome. You're welcome. Who's the friend you got like who hates Train? You're welcome. Chelsea? Is that it? Re-
This one's for you, Chelsea.
Rebecca?
Do your list, man.
Anyway, my number two and number one, because they're the same artist as
Fuck
well,
off.
are Curtis and Superfly by Curtis Mayfield. Um, Going into the project, I knew very well that I'm not a fan of jazz.
It's not jazz.
Hopefully, oh, that's what that is. There's no way that's not
No,
jazz. That's
it's
exactly
R
what
and
it sounded
B.
like.
It's soul.
Well,
It's not
more like R and
jazz.
S, and the S stands for shit because it was bad. um, no, I don't know. It wasn't for me. I feel like the. I mean, it was. I don't know. It was decent enough, but like I said, that like it felt old. It felt
There's not a problem with
targeted almost.
that.
There's an audience there, and it's not me. Um, I don't know. I didn't like it. No, sorry, Bob. That's it.
No sirree, Bob.
Yep, that's my take.
Guess I get to do my 2-1 now.
Sorry, Chelsea.
Who is okay?
Chelsea's the name of your audience now. You know, you ever watched Danny Gonzalez? He calls his fans Greg. No. That's it. That's the people who watch Music Meltdown. They are Chelsea as a collective.
Tell me why did I let you on this? Anyways, number 2, Bowling for Soup, Too Drunk to Dance. This shit sucks.
What?
Shut up, man. This is dog shit. It's pop punk, but like with for one thing, the dude, the best thing he ever did was the Phineas and Ferb theme song. That's the only thing I've heard that he actually
Valid.
kind of sounds tolerable.
Valid.
This record proved to me that they deserve to be a one-hit wonder. 1984 or 85, whatever it's called, marginally okay. This is terrible. It's like front to back, really just obnoxious. The band isn't interesting. The playing's bad, and just sonically speaking, there's little to nothing unique or interesting. They're just a pop punk band that focuses solely upon the immaturities, the goofiness, the toilet humor, for lack of a better term. And the fact that the dude is essentially just whining in my ears every 10 seconds just totally turns me off front to back. So, not good. Gave it a 2.5 because I'm blatantly not the demographic because I actually listen to music. But yeah, Bowling for Soup, Too Drunk to Dance. From the bottom, the Mogwais with Kids in Love, just really bad. Dog. This record sounds like my dog's shit.
Hey, no way, Shotty.
The production on this record is really dreadful. I know I mentioned Train sounded bad, but this is even worse. Like, and the songs are bad too. The dude is not a good singer either. That's probably the main thing across my bottom five. They aren't good singers. And just like, oh my god, this record just was not enjoyable. I didn't find any of the actual songs to be well good. I'm trying to think. There was this one girl on the record who did singing. She kind of sounds like shitty Haley Williams. She was okay, but even she got tiresome by the end of it. You're Not Alone just sounds like really bland. The best way to describe this record is grocery core. Every single song on here would play in the middle of a grocery store and it sound perfectly at place. I heard their hit, whatever that song was a while ago. It makes sense that that was a hit because it's the most sterile, boring indie out there. It's in the same tier as Wallows. It's just like totally undesirable in every regard. I gave it 2.5 because I don't think it's trying to be any more than just like this boring pop record. But even in terms of a boring pop record, give me the fucking American Authors record over this. Give me Colony House. There's just not much good to say about the Mogwais, Kids in Love. So,
okay, first of all, someone's clearly never read the Jungle Book.
I haven't.
They're not the Mogwais or the Mowglis. It's like the main character. His name's Mowgli.
I don't care.
Secondly,
write better songs.
Why do you have to hate everything that's good in life? Huh?
You say this, but 4 of your 5 bottom.
Here's a question. Here's a question, huh? How do you feel about puppies? Do you hate them? Because you seem like you hate them.
Fine. I don't have a strong opinion on puppies. This is a music show. I don't have to.
That's valid.
All right, start talking about moderately okay music now.
Moderately okay music, my asshole. Anyway,
no, not moderately okay music. That's something very different.
My number 5 is Sam's Town by the Killers.
Okay. You did good, bub.
I've actually wanted to get into the Killers for a long time because obviously, who doesn't like Mr. Brightside? I think that was the first one I ever heard. You don't like Mr. Brightside?
I said Tom.
Oh. Okay. No, and then there was a show that we used to watch where they did a cover of that, and it was really good. And then from there, we have a buddy who's super into them, and he's just nonstop. And you gotta listen to the Killers. You gotta listen to the Killers. And I'm like, I'll get to it. I want to like the Killers, but I'm not gonna just sit and listen to all their records in one go. But I can tell you, we've done 2. I don't know if they have more than 3, but 2 of the 3 are their biggest ones.
Wait, time out. You don't know if they have more than 3, and you literally edited my Killers episode.
Oh, I did. There's like 5 of them, aren't there?
7 or 8.
Way to go, Camden.
Way to go, indeed, man.
No, but we did Day and Age last month, and I thought that was really good. And this one, I think, was actually even better. Better. And there was just a lot of stuff. What's the one that stood out to me that the most I think was called um what is it?
When you were young.
No,
Um,
Bling Confessions of a Millionaire, I think it's called.
Interesting.
Um,
Wouldn't have,
my Spotify take forever to load.
wouldn't have expected that one. I mean, hey, I really like that song too.
How far back is it? I thought, did I pass it? I don't know. It's not important. It's the Confessions. Yeah, Bling Confessions of a King. That's the one that I really like. Um, but the whole album had just some really good stuff on it. The Killers are a really good band. I like the voice. The instrumentation on it is fantastic, and they talk about things worth listening. That's yeah. My five is the Killers. Samson Town.
Well, that's the first thing that you said that I didn't hate all video. Actually,
You're
no,
welcome.
Rainbow Folly. I guess you did kind of okay on. So
Swag.
you get a gold star.
Yeah, look,
Um,
it's right here. Way to go, editing Camden. You're
yeah,
doing a
good
great job.
job, editor Camden. Number 5, I got Violator by Depeche Mode. Just really, really great synth pop. Martin Gore is a great vocalist, same with the other one. And just lyrically, I think that Depeche Mode are a severely underrated group. Stuff like Personal Jesus, Halo, there's just plenty of incredible songs across this record. As I mentioned before, everything in here is a part of my top 100 records and my top 5. I think that this one really shines through in production state, especially. Probably my favorite on here is Policy of Truth, because I just think it's gorgeous. Same with Enjoy the Silence. Really, just not much bad to say about it. Really excellent front to back. Now let's hear you talk about fucking, I don't know, Tom Waits. I know
I'm gonna
you,
show you Tom Waits isn't on there, which is ironic. Actually, real quick, I want to talk about that because last month you said that was probably my bottom. I think it's
yeah,
really funny that it wasn't. It's really weird. And the first half of that album is like way different because the first half almost sounds like if Tim Burton made country music, and then the second half is just bad, is what I remember. But I don't remember it very well, if I'm being honest with you. Anyway, my number 4.
your comparisons make absolutely zero sense.
No, I swear to God, there's the one song about being in a graveyard or whatever. That song sounds like it could be from The Nightmare Before Christmas.
No, that part I get. The country part makes
Cemetery
zero
Polka.
sense.
Cemetery Polka. It's a Tim Burton song, I'm telling you.
Okay.
Da-da-da-da-da. He made Batman.
I
Anyway,
don't
my number
deny
4
that. Okay.
is the Mowgli's Kids in Love.
Well, that was
Because
expected.
yeah, I like good music. Was that a Starry Night phone case? Oh no, never mind. Mine's cool. That's why I count on it. Um, I gotta tell you, man, I'm a sucker for mediocre pop,
You
and
are.
I feel like that's a pretty well known fact about me, and especially come across in these album a day project videos.
It has.
Um, ain't nothing wrong with turning your brain off and just like I love to be a good song where it's just like yeah, we're not alone, or we're gonna be all right. I'm a sucker for it. I like being optimistic, and a lot of the songs in this they just have a fun, upbeat, turn off your brain and just groove. It's like this is something that I would actively listen to regularly. Um, Funnily enough, I disagree. I think the song I put this one on the list because I had heard their song "I'm Good," um, which I think is the most popular song off that album. I actually heard that on the radio one time when I was at Subway. Um, but no, I just found that on Spotify. I was like, oh, this is fun, whatever. And I actually think that might be one of the weakest songs on this album because the chorus is just "I'm good" over and over again.
Yeah, that one was really bad.
Yeah, I mean it's well, I don't think it's a terrible song, but of what's on here, I definitely think it's one of the weaker ones. Um, Bad Dream was really good. You're Not Alone's really good. I don't actually find myself going back and listening to a lot of the songs like right after we do the project for the sake of like I just heard it. But I actually did I think a couple days after I listened to a couple of these songs again just because I was like they were stuck in my head. Um, no, I like the Mowgli's. Mowgli's is my number 4.
Now, I don't have an issue with pop music or anything like that. My issue is when it's lazy and when it has little going for it. Because to me, in pop music, all that you need is a good arrangement, a solid hook, and good melody. I feel like that record and a lot of the ones that we've covered so
Shawty's
far,
like a melody in my head that I can't
like
keep out. Got me
many
singing.
of the ones that we've talked about simply have none of those things, including the Mowgli's, including Train, and it is what it is. I mean, hey, it's not my fault that the people suck. Um,
It is. It is your fault that they suck.
my
You caused
apologies.
this.
My
You
apologies.
caused this.
Okay then. Number 4, Dear Science by TV on the Radio. Just an amazing indie rock record. This is a very high 4.5 stars. My top 3 are 5s. I just love TV on the radio sound. They're incredibly eclectic, incredibly unique. This record draws from like loose R&B elements, indie rock, sort of electronica. There's like hip hop influences. It's super unique in their sound and sonically. Once again, I just think that it sounds great. And they're one of my favorite bands on the lyrical level because they just write to the songs perfectly. On here, my favorite one is probably Crying. There's also great songs like DLZ, Golden Age. It's a really great record. I own it and I really love it. Not much more for me to add. Just one of the best of that time. So, Dear Science by TV on the Radio.
Not bad. I thought that one was all right. I didn't like have any really strong opinions about it, and I gotta be honest with you, I don't remember a whole lot about it. We're
Yeah, I
getting to
know.
a point where we
I saw
listen
that
to so
coming.
many albums. Yeah, we just listen to so many albums at this point that it's like, unless something about it like really sticks out to me, I kind of just forget it right away.
Well, the issue
Um,
with that is what sticks out to you is mediocrity, and that's what we get stuck with.
you're saying a lot of things today,
I'm
and
saying a
I
lot
don't
of
really think I
crap.
like most of them.
Likewise, my friend. Likewise.
Anyway, back to good music. My
Okay,
number 3 is what is it called?
that's a
When
pretty
I
good
Was
one,
Younger
by the
by
way.
Colony House. What? What did you just say to me? Are you threatening me? I'll call the cops. Anyway, When I Was Younger by Colony House. Fantastic album.
Oh,
Another good like indie pop, Let me see here. I put that whole album, I think, in my liked songs.
that's sad. Oh my
No, it
god.
was good. I think this one didn't quite have it wasn't quite the same vibe as the Mowgli's one. There was a lot of more like introspective, like, you know, bits of
Yes,
like
some
it
had
is.
pulse, had emotion.
Yeah, and it was good. It was good stuff. It was like, the almost a lot of it covered like the fear of growing up almost, which is something that I struggle with constantly. It was kind of like, whoa, I'm hearing my own thoughts. Silhouettes is the song that I had heard from this album. It's the reason I put it on there. And Silhouettes is one of my favorite indie songs I've ever come across. It's a fantastic song. I'm going to be honest. We listened to this one at the beginning of the month. I don't remember a lot of them individually outside of that. What is it called? I just saw it. Waiting for My Time to Come. Well, actually, kind of caught me off guard because I had found a single mix of that before, and it's almost like a remix or something, and it doesn't quite sound the same. So the version on this album kind of caught me off guard, but it's not terrible. But no, all in all, I think the album, it was a fun experience. A lot of it you kind of spoke to me. Fun pop. And end of the day, the end. Merry Christmas.
Not terrible is the best way to describe that record. It was perfectly listenable 90% of the time. I think I maybe sort of like the opening song, and then the rest of it just like American Authors, the same as that, just really bland.
See, it's so funny to
Not
me that
good.
you say that because American Authors is probably one of the best ones we've heard on this thing so far. And it was, I think, my number 1 or number 2 for all of January. Like,
Yeah, it was an issue.
this is what.
Number 3, Weezer.
Ain't no way this man is telling me I got bad taste and it puts Weezer at his number 3. Ain't no way.
You're literally going to talk about this, and if not, you're going to say nothing but positive things once we
Don't
finish
worry,
the
I'll
top
get to my
5.
Weezer rant. I'll get to my Weezer rant.
So, the Blue Album by Weezer. It's incredible. It's a great pop rock record. Really just nothing bad to say about it. My Name is Jonas is a fantastic opener. I love the 2-piece of No One Else and The World Has Turned and Left Me Here. Buddy Holly is the worst song on the record. I'll come out and say it. I don't love it, but it's still really good. Undone the Sweater song is just killer. I love the way it just goes in and out of the spoken word, sort of monologuing bits with the really aggressive, like down tempo track. It's really cool. Surflax America picks it up from there, just really interestingly, really fun, really catchy. Although definitely one of the weaker notes on the album. Believe After Everything is Say It Ain't So, which is a classic for a reason, one of the most iconic songs of the 90s. In the Garage is really fun as well, just really playful, really enjoyable. I think it has like a bit of toy piano or like keys on there, and it's really fun. I've always loved the song Holiday, just really crushing. I love in the chorus where the guitar chords are like pulsated around the word holiday as he like goes holiday, not trying to sing, just trying to emphasize it. And then it closes out brilliantly with Only in Dreams, which is just a really crushing number that just builds over and over. And it just ultimately culminates in something that's really excellent. I remembered the whole track listing off the top of my head because every song is very good. And it is a fantastic record. One of the best that we've listened to for the entire show, and more than likely will be one of them. And the third best album of March, Weezer by Weezer. The Blue Album, to clarify. All right, now you talk about it.
You have sins to atone for.
I do?
Yeah. Weezer. Get out of here.
You literally had 4 R&B and soul records in your bottom 5 that people would genuinely consider some of the greatest in the genre.
R&B's not my thing, dog.
Have better things, dog.
I have great things. I have depression.
Where's Coop?
He's actually in bed right now.
Hey, Coop.
I hope he doesn't come out here while we're recording. My number 2 for the month, I think to no one's surprise, is Trench by 21 Pilots. Not this whole lot to say. I'm a big 21 Pilots guy. I was actually here. My first ever appearance on the Music Meltdown channel was for the 21 Pilots episode. I now have this Vessel 10th anniversary hoodie. Shouts outs Malcolm. Love you, Malcolm. Yeah, no, I'm just a big 21 Pilots guy. I gotta tell you, Trench isn't one of my favorite 21 Pilots albums. It's fantastic. All 21 Pilots stuff is probably gonna get the top of the list whenever it gets here. I think we limited, I think, each artist to 3 albums, so there's 2 other ones in our mix somewhere. And they'll probably take higher precedence. I think like the other 2 more. But this is still a fantastic album, front to back. There's not a bad song on here, except for maybe Smithereens, but even that one's tolerable. There's so much good stuff. Chlorine got popular for a reason. I luckily wasn't listening to the radio when it was popular, so it didn't have the same quite effect as like Stressed Out probably did of like the overplaying. But Chlorine's a great song. It deserves its popularity. My Blood's one of the best songs they've ever made. Bandito, I love. I know a lot of us, we debated a lot, but between Bandito and Leave the City, their slower songs album, both fantastic, but I just prefer Bandito. All in all, it's just a fantastic record. Like, genuinely, all seriousness, it's one of my favorites, and I'm glad we got to listen to that one this month. Number 2, Trench, 21 Pilots.
Okie dokie.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you didn't think that was happening, huh? Now what are you thinking? What are you thinking now, huh? Punk.
I actually went down on when I re-listened.
Whoa!
I still have those 4 stars. I think it's really good.
I made that joke last month.
All right, so I know what your number 1 is. Or at least
well, my number 1, I think anyone who knows me, my number 1 is super obvious.
Yeah, it's obviously Naughty Dread by Bob Marley and the Wailers.
Oh, it sure is.
Number 2, definitely what I expected to be my number 1. You're probably going to hear me talk about it sometime in the future because I did an episode on Skylarking by XTC. Just a really brilliant pop record front to back. I think Colin Moulding and Andy Partridge are both amazing writers, and Todd Rundgren is just a brilliant producer. It's a very Beatle-esque, but still has great elements of sort of new wave and just great pop sensibilities all across here. A song like Dear God, and just so so many others across here that I love. Summer's Cauldron, Grass. That's really Supergirl, A Thousand Umbrellas. I adore Season Cycle. Or Enough for Us is really good. And yeah, just front to back, it's a really excellent record. Odd it. And I already had it because it's excellent.
Hey, I have
Number
that one
two,
too,
Skylarking.
apparently.
Yeah, it does because I gave it
Yeah,
to him.
you did. Just randomly one day. We didn't even listen to the album yet. You were like, here, have this. I didn't even know who it was or
Now,
what it
talking
was.
about fucking Foster the People for some reason.
I love this album. Okay, Torches by Foster People is, of course, my number one. I think, first of all, more people need to listen to Foster the People. I feel like they really do, because they're too much of like no one knows who they are, and then I'm like, oh, they're the dudes with pumped up kicks, and they're like, the shooting song. I'm like, that's one song on this album, and the rest of the album, I mean, it kind of has. No, honestly, most of the whole album doesn't even really sound like that song. Like, I don't know. I think the whole thing is fantastic. There's not a bad song on it, except for I can't remember, is Miss You, I think, is on this album. I can't remember if that's on the expanded version or like the standard version. That one's not great. Yeah, Miss You's on here. That one's not great. The rest of them, dude, I love this album so much. Helena Beat's fantastic. Pumped Up Kicks is obviously classic. Call It What You Want, Call It What You Want, Houdini are some of the best of this album. I grew up on those ones actually. I listened to those a lot at the end of middle school. Don't Stop Calling the Walls is I swear to God. Okay. I swear that somewhere it appeared in a trailer or on the soundtrack somewhere for the movie Turbo. I swear to God, that's where I heard that song from. And then I looked it up and it's nowhere. Like, you can't find that song linked to the movie Turbo at all. But I swear to you, I swear it was in that movie somehow, some way. Waste is great. Waste makes me think of my little sister. I'm biased on that one. I Would Do Anything for You is one of my favorite love songs ever made. Nothing really that special about it. I just really like the sound of it. It's really sweet. It's a fun, it's kind of a standout on this album because not the rest of it. The rest of it's not really like that at all, which is good, but a shame because Fox people kind of ended up leaning more toward that kind of direction as they went on. But for this first one of the initial, it's really good. It's a standout. Life on the Nickel and Warren are just all right. They're nothing super special, and Misuse I don't really care for, but the album as a whole is fantastic. A classic in its own right, and one of my favorite albums ever. So it had to be my number one this month is Torches by Boston People.
Okay. It's good. I like it.
That one's for you, Chelsea. Go ahead. It's your turn.
I'm gonna explain how fucking wrong you are, my friend.
With what? Torches?
No,
or
not
Chelsea?
Torches, just in general. Number one this month by a fucking country mile is Intervisions by Stevie Wonder. This record is utterly brilliant. You're laughing, but nobody is on your side. Literally nobody that ever exists.
No one was on what's his face's side, and he was right.
Oh.
What's his face? Were you just listening or like?
Anyways, time to talk about Intervisions. This is a record that I love Stevie Wonder. He's one of the greatest musicians ever. In my opinion, he's actually my pick for the greatest musician, just going on a strictly technical standpoint. And it probably helps that the music he makes is just amazing. This was a record that I was lower on going into this. I actually had it not near the bottom of my Stevie Wonder ranking, but of his classic era, it was like second to last. But this record just utterly shot up for me upon a re-listen. It's an easy 5-star record in my top 20 in general now, because there's just not a wrong note played on it. All of the songs are just amazing. Too High, Visions, Living for the City, Golden Life, Higher Ground is amazing. He's Mr. Know-It-All is a really great closer. I view this record as this, and is kind of just the showcase of him as a player, because he plays pretty much every instrument on most of this record, and he is brilliant at all of them, incredibly proficient. And vocally, we talked about it before. He is a very great singer, but even more than that, he possibly has the greatest command over his voice of anybody that I've ever heard. He never oversings. He always sings to the perfect level that the songs require from him. Even on his later records, which admittedly aren't that good, it's just really amazing, front to back. Yeah, I've said it before and I'll say it again. You're fucking stupid for not liking this. And yeah, number 1, Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder. Utterly incredible.
Sorry, Charlie.
Who are these people? First we had Kevin, now there's Chelsea.
No, Kevin's real. Kevin's the only name I've said so far who's a real person.
Sure he is. Next you're gonna tell me that Mowgli's record was good.
Don't worry. Here. We'll put in a clip right here. This is Kevin. Don't ask me, I'll never tell. I looked at you as I fell, and now you're in my way.
Hey Kev.
I love doing things like that. This month was really good. I don't think that there was quite there was a lot of really good stuff that we didn't even really touch on. There's a lot of, I think, mediocrity too, though. First of all, I waited to talk about it because I wanted to leave the tease up of whether or not it was my top 5, but obviously it wouldn't be. I joke a lot, but I did like Weezer a lot more than I thought I was going to. There's kind of this stigma around Weezer of liking them and stuff. And I mess around a lot about like, oh, you can't like Weezer. But like genuinely, the album was pretty good. I think it just missed my top 5. It was my number 7.
This man went to my house over spring break. He was in shambles because he liked Weezer.
I broke a bowl. Because you randomly handed me the Weezer record, and I was like, I don't want this, and I tried to put it back, and then the trophy fell, and then that launched the bowl to the ground. But then I cut it, and I was like, oh, okay, we put it back, and then we gotta fix the shelf because it all fell over, and then it fell again, and the bowl shattered on the ground just because of Weezer.
No, I think that was because of you, man.
Maybe, but I digress. It was Weezer's fault. Anyway. Bowling for Soup was great. Bowling for Soup was my number 6. The other albums that you named, I thought that real quick, we had another Broken Bells album this month. This one was not as good as After the Disco. It's their self-titled. That was right before my Weezer one.
Sorry.
Yeah, I think we're both kind of the same page there. And then Skylarking and I think You Should Coco.
Yeah.
They sounded kind of similar in my opinion. They were both very, very good though. They're my 9 and 10. Very good albums. I'll definitely come back to those ones. Good stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
It's crazy. We had another Michael Jackson. Neither of us talked about it, huh?
Yeah, I like that record a lot. It was my number 9. I think that record's great. I like it considerably more than Thriller. Like, it's by far my favorite of his. Sam's Town, it made your top 5. It was my number 10. A record that really grew on me that I loved this week was The Queen is Dead by the Smiths. That was my number 8.
Yeah,
I'd kind of struggled with them in the past, but this week it really connected with me. I actually didn't like Curtis by Curtis Mayfield that much, like admittedly speaking. But Superfly is great. You're crazy, man. Crazy dog. Why are you raising your hand? What'd you do?
I need called on.
Camden to the front of the class.
Okay, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, okay? I was really excited for the Smiths for one reason and one reason only.
Okay.
There's that one movie with
yes,
Joseph Gordon-Levitt and Zooey Deschanel, and it's a classic what's it called? Manic Pixie Dream Girl movie where she just like shows up and shows him that like life is actually pretty good and then just disappears. And he's listening to the Smiths in the elevator. It's like, oh, I love the Smiths. And then that's when they fall in love and everything. So I just wanted to listen to the Smiths so that Zooey Deschanel would love me. So this is me shoot my shot. Zoe Deschanel, if you're watching this, I'm single, and I like the Smiths. So
Well, I'm glad that you like Smiths.
I did like the Smiths. Where did I have them? I had them.
It was my number 8.
It was my number 13.
That's not bad. You listened to Jimi Hendrix this month.
Yeah, that was okay.
It was pretty good.
That just missed my bottom 5. It was my number 6 worst of the month.
Led Zeppelin.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
It was there.
Why do I ask you about these afterwards? It just
What?
gets so much worse every time I ask. Bob Marley. I love Bob Marley. I'm actually kind of upset that I put this record in because I don't like this record nearly as much as most of his others, which is weird because this is commonly heralded as like his greatest. It might be like my 9th or 8th favorite by him.
Meh.
So yeah, I'm just gonna stop while I'm ahead because I don't feel like hearing you talk ill.
Yeah, I'm probably
gonna
gonna diss a lot of the stuff that you really
anymore.
like.
I'm not gonna hear you crucify yourself any more than you already have.
Sorry.
But yeah,
Listen.
that was March. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Chelsea.
You openly admitted that nobody is named Chelsea earlier. Why
No, Chelsea's your fans. Remember, we had
why are every single one of my fans named Chelsea?
No. You misunderstand. They're not named Chelsea.
No,
that's what
I
the fan base
understand.
is. They're Chelsea.
Okay.
I love you, Chelsea. Thanks for having me on the show.
Bye, Chelsea's.
Bye, Chelsea.
I hope that you enjoyed and everything. Yeah. Man,
We're so good at this
right now.